Hi and welcome to the first and maybe the last Spectrum Geeks car video review. It's the Lotus Evora 400. So for me, this is what the Lotus Evora should have been like from the start. I should start off by saying I am a bit biased in this video. I've had several Lotuses now. I'm a big fan. I do think their cars are underrated, but this car is fantastic. So it's the same kind of setup as the Evora S had before, but a bit more power. So the 400 gives you that indication. 400 horsepower, 302 pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in around 4.1 seconds. This is a manual version, also comes with an automatic. The top speed in the manual is around 186, and I think it's around 176 for the automatic. This is a fantastic car. It's got a 3.5 litre V6 supercharged engine. Yes, it comes from a Toyota Camry, but oh my word, Lotus have done special things with it. I think this car is fantastic, and really one of the things I like about it the most, and I think most petrol heads will agree, it's the sound. Sounds amazing. As you heard there, hopefully on the camera, the exhaust note is amazing. This is standard. This isn't an aftermarket exhaust. This is what it comes like out of the factory. There is a little button here on the dash that you can press. I call it stealth mode. Basically close the flaps in the exhaust. So now you really can't hear the engine. The valves do open up around 3,500 revs. But we'll turn that back off. This car is fantastic. The handling is amazing. So these retail are around £76,000. This one is a full spec one, so it cost you around £82,000 here in the UK. The differences are it has the lighter forged wheels. It also has the black pack as well, so you have the different styling, the black roofs, the black sides, black splitters. Also full leather interior as well. Cruise control, sat nav, everything comes as standard. There's various operating modes. So there's comfort mode, there's sport mode, and there's race mode. Basically comfort mode, all of the driver assists are on. Switch it to sport mode, that's when the exhaust note livens up, throttle response is increased, you get a little bit more control over traction, and race mode is kind of everything's off. In terms of kind of racing, obviously this is a car for the road and for the track. It's definitely very usable. There are a couple of seats in the back that small children can squeeze into. The manual version of the 400 has a limited slip diff. The automatic doesn't have that. I don't know if that's due to the automatic box taking up more space. This car really is fantastic. One of the things that changed around the Evora 400 over the original Evora and Evora S is lower sills, so it makes entry and exit from the car much easier. As standard, the specs are amazing. You've got the AP racing brakes. This car is just amazing. Like I said, I am biased, but I just think in terms of what you're getting for your money, the styling is amazing. For me, this is what the car always should have looked like. The original Evora was a very friendly and smiley, happy looking car. When this car was released, I was like, wow, this thing looks amazing. Lots of people in the Lotus community weren't so keen. I think they preferred the older, smiley, happy looking face of the original Evora. But I think really to compete in the markets that it's trying to compete in, it needs to look more aggressive, it needs to look more purposeful, and they've really done that. I like the Mansory kit that was done on the GTE, but I think for everyday usage, this car just looks fantastic. In terms of other standard specifications, So as I mentioned before, the car is really well spec'd. You've got tyre monitoring on all the tyres, heated seats, air conditioning, like I say, sat nav, DVD and CD player. It says air conditioning, not climate control, but that's fine. 6-speed box. Just trying to think what else we're getting here. The stereo is an Alpine double-din head unit, so it's what is supplied by standard, but it obviously isn't a Lotus owned device. It's, like I say, it's Alpine. The speakers are reasonable. You've got front tweeters, 2 side speakers, and a little sub with an amp in the back. The sound, like I said, it's not great. The Evora, and all the Lotuses really, the way the chassis is built, it doesn't really facilitate, I would say, amazing audio. A few people have spent, £1,000 or so upgrading the sound. For me, the sound of the exhaust is what I'm most interested in. There are a few things that I wish it had, and I know this is definitely probably going to get some comments in the comments section here. There is pretty much nowhere to put anything. So I know people always laugh about cup holders, etc, etc, but sometimes if you're on a long journey, you want to pick up a can or a bottle of something. In the original Evora, you had big pockets near the door handles where you could put a drink. There's no cup holder, there's no pockets, there's nowhere to put your phone. You have hardly anywhere to put anything, so you just chuck everything in the footwell. There are some really small side pockets under the door handles, but anytime I put something in there like keys, they fly out. It's not very deep, so I think that is something that is really, I think, my only real disappointment. I think the other thing is, again, it's just a niggly issue. Obviously, when the engine is hot, the glass panel between the cockpit and the engine bay can tend to rattle a little bit. I guess it's part of things compressing, etc. But yeah, that's really it. I just love everything about this car. I think in terms of value for money, you're getting a lot of car for it, and I think Lotus continues to be underrated. They've had, I think they've always had financial problems, but I'm hoping that they're turning a corner on that now. They're making profit. Orders are up, especially in the US. Outside the UK, I think the sales are really good. But no, I'm hoping that people start to look more seriously at these cars, and especially if they're going to keep on giving exhaust note like this. I mean, this is what the cars are supposed to have. So Lotus have had before, I've always had to fit, I say have to, felt the need to fit an aftermarket exhaust, because it just sounds like a sewing machine, whereas in this car it has the sound to match everything else. Another thing to change in the Evora 400 from the original is the original Evora had Recaro seats. Now, I really like those. In the first gen ones, the leather quality wasn't really good, so there was a lot of discolouring and marking on some of those seats, especially in the lighter colours. In the Evora 400, they've gone for Sparco seats. They are definitely lighter, and I would say it's not that they are more or less comfortable. I think the Recaro seats were definitely really comfortable. You could do a really long journey in these. These are comfortable as well. I feel like they're somehow more supportive, but they are, let's say they're more flexible. I don't want to use the word flimsy, but definitely more flexible. So there is a little bit of movement in the seat, which I think the first couple of times you drive, it takes a bit getting used to, but it's not, I don't find it disconcerting when you're driving. So in terms of the handling or moving, it's not a problem. So yeah, The seats are still good, the seats are still comfortable. You've also got more room, more leg room at the front to around where the pedals are. More importantly for the passenger, you have got more room than you used to have in terms of, you know, all that lowering of the seals and just making it generally a more friendly and accessible place to be on day to day. The car also comes with a car kit, so obviously if you've got Bluetooth on your phone, you can use the Bluetooth car kit that's connected to the head unit. There's a microphone just above the rear view mirror. Like I said, all this is the standard, and actually the car kit in this works a lot better than it did in the last Evora. I'm not sure if it's just due to the head unit or a different microphone, but it's definitely a lot more clarity. So I think people take these things for granted. So when it comes to sports cars, you know, we want it to be fast, we want it to sound great, but we also want, you know, those creature comforts. We want heated seats, we want, you know, sat nav and things like this. All this stuff is important. When you're speccing these cars up, you can also go for, instead of the leather interior, you can go for the Alcantara interior. Personally, not a big fan of Alcantara, but there is Alcantara on the roof. You can get Alcantara seats, Alcantara steering wheel. There's options as well. The other thing, again, just little things in terms of modernisation. The Lotus 400 also has daytime running lights. That's something that wasn't present on the old Evora, and they work really well. They do turn off when you have the main beam on. I'm not sure if there's a legal requirement for that. I don't think so, because I don't see it on other cars. So just something to take note of. But yeah, I really like the revised front, the revised rear. And like I said a few times, I'm biased, but I think this is a cracking car. Okay, so that was it. Again, not a really super extensive review, but I just wanted to kind of bring more awareness to people around the Lotus Evora 400, recognise the Lotus brand. Perhaps if you're in a market for a car like this, instead of looking at you know, a Porsche or something, you may pop in to a Lotus dealer and take an Evora 400 for a test drive. I think it's great, but really, you know, test it for yourself, see what you think, and remember, enjoy that exhaust note. Thanks for watching this video. A thumbs up would be really appreciated. If you're interested in other geek type videos, please consider subscribing to Spectrum Geeks. Why not also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And before you leave, why don't you check out one of these other videos that may be of interest. Thanks again for watching.